In this video, I'm going to share the journey from the port area where the MSC Meraviglia is docked into Cozumel. We're headed actually to Mr. Sancho's. There'll be a video on Mr. Sancho's later. But in this video, we're just going to travel across the dock in the wheelchair to the port. Now, getting from this dock to the area where you can get a taxi is a little more convoluted than it is in other trips. So I'm going to let you listen to some music and watch as we go. After the guard pointed us in the direction of the elevator, things start to get a little more interesting. My wife, in addition to having mobility challenges, suffers from claustrophobia. So we make our way over here to the elevator, and when we look at the elevator, she realizes that's too small for her to be able to cope with. So now we're back around by the escalator, and so what's going to happen is she's going to get off the wheelchair. Now she does have some mobility. Get on the escalator and ride the escalator up to the second floor. Now I go back around with the wheelchair, get in the elevator, and I meet her up at the top. It's going to get even more interesting in a minute. This method of crossing the street is really designed to build sales and marketing opportunities for the vendors. Basically, you cannot get from the cruise terminal to the street where you can get a taxi without going through the shopping mall. At least that's what they want you to believe. There is another way we found coming back. Instead of getting on the going up by the elevator, you just kind of follow around, and there's a gate where they'll actually let you straight out on the street, and that's the way we came back in. But as I said, it gets more interesting because now, after my wife gets in the chair, we're going to start to travel along through the shopping area in search of an elevator down. And there is one coming. My wife took one look at the size of the elevator door and realized that was not the way she wanted to go down. So we go around the corner here, and what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to help her down the escalator. I just left the wheelchair and the stuff up at the top of it. Went down on the escalator. When we got to the bottom of the escalator, she waited there for me. I turned around and came back up, got the wheelchair, went to the elevator. It's going to get even more interesting. As I said, it was going to get more interesting because now I'm going into the elevator, and I go in and I push the button to go down to the floor below, and nothing happens. So I push the button again, and nothing happens. The elevator just stays still. My wife's starting to fear that I am trapped in the elevator, and I'm not, but the elevator doesn't work to go down. So now my wife is downstairs, and I'm upstairs with a wheelchair. So the only option at this stage is to take the wheelchair down the escalator. And for any of you that have ever had to do that, it would not be my first choice of a way to maneuver through an area. But that's the option I had, and that's what we wound up doing. Once I get the wheelchair down, we get my wife back in it and all the stuff piled up, then we're going to go down through the area and get out to the street where we're going to be able to find a taxi cab. And again, I'll let you listen to some music as we walk through the rest of the mall. The process of picking up a taxi was very easy once we got to the taxi stand. One of the drivers met us. We told him we needed a van. And then he took us down and helped us get in a van, get the wheelchair loaded, and we were off to Mr. Sancho's. Again, it was a very easy process. Nothing that was risky or scary. The only challenge was, like I said, dealing with the steps or the escalator or the elevator in the area around the mall. So if you have some limited mobility, it may not be a challenge. If you're wheelchair bound, obviously in this case, I don't know how you could have gotten down the steps because you would have been stuck on the second floor. The only real option would be go back to the other side of the street. Now on the other side of the street, like I said, if you had, instead of going up the ramp to the elevator, if you just continued that same direction we were going, you can get to a door where they would let you out and you'd be on the street. And then there is a taxi stand about a half a block back up to the left of that, and that might have worked. As it was, this was the way they routed us, and this is the way we went. You'll see a link pop up that takes you to a playlist that will show you the rest of our Cozumel travels. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.